Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are from 10 groups and we will explain about validity and reliability. The first, let me introduce our member. First, Dhea Lukita, Putri Utami, and me, Ahmad Royhan. First presentation will be explained by Putri Utami. Time is yours.
Okay, the first explanation will be explained by me. Uh, First is what is validity? Validity refers to how accurately a method measures what it is intended to measure. If research has high validity, that means it produces results that correspond to real properties, characteristics, and variation in the physical or social world. Or simply, validity is about the accuracy of measure. Next slide, please. The next is what is reliability? Reliability refers to how consistently a method measures something. If the same result can be consistently achieved by using the same method under the same circumstances, the measurement is considered reliable. Reliability is about the consistency of a measure. What does it tell reliability and validity? Reliability is tell the extent to which the result can be reproduced when the research is repeated under the same condition. And validity is tell the extent to which the result really measure what they are supposed to measure. And how it assessed? Reliability is assessed by checking the consistency of result across time, across different observers, and across part of the test itself. And the validity is assessed by checking how well the result correspond to established theories and other measures of the concept. And how do they relate? A reliable measurement is not always valid. The result may be reproducible, but they are not necessarily correct. And a valid measurement is generally reliable. If a test produces accurate result, they should be reproducible. And the next explanation will be explained by Dea Lukita.
Okay, next is how are reliability and validity assessed? Reliability can be estimated by comparing different versions of the same measurement. Validity is harder to assess, but it can be estimated by comparing the result to other relevant data or theory. Methods of estimating reliability and validity are usually split up into different types. Here are several types of reliability. First is test retest. What does it assess? The consistency of a measure across time. Do you get some result when you repeat the measurement? And the example is a group of participants complete a questionnaire designed to measure personality traits. If they repeat the questionnaire days, week, or month apart and give the same answer, this indicates high test retest reliability. Second is iterator. What does it assess? The consistency of a measure across rates or observers. Do you get some result when different people conduct the same measurement? For example, based on an assessment criteria checklist, 5 examiners submit substantially different results for the same student's project. This indicates that the assessment checklist has low iterator reliability, for example, because the criteria are too subjective. And last is internal consistency, the consistency of measurement itself. Do you get the same result do you get the same result from different parts of the test that are designed to measure the same thing? And the example is when you design a questionnaire to measure self-esteem, if you randomly split the result into two halves, there should be a between the two sets of the result. If the two results are very different, this indicates low internal consistency. And here are the types of validity. First is construct. What does it assess? The adherence of measure to existing theory and knowledge of the concept being measured. For example, a self-esteem questionnaire could be answered by measuring other traits known or assumed to be related to the concept of self-esteem, such as social skill and optimism. Strong correlations between the score for self-esteem and associated traits will indicate high construct validity. And second is content. What does it assess? The extent to which the measurement covers all aspects of the concept being measured. For example, tests that aim to measure a class of students' level of Spanish contains reading, writing, and speaking components, but not listening components. Experts agree that listening comprehension is an essential aspect of language ability, so the test lacks content validity for measuring the overall level of ability in Spanish. Next is criterion. The extent to which the result of a measure corresponds to other valid measures of the same concept. For example, um, a questionnaire is conducted to measure the political opinions of voters in a region. If the result accurately predict the later outcome of an election in the early region, this indicates that the survey has high criterion value. And next material will be explained by Roy.
Okay. Uh, Here I will explain about how to ensure validity and reliability in your research. The reliability and validity of your research depends on creating a strong research design, choosing appropriate methods and samples, and conducting the research carefully and consistently. Next, there are two ensuring validity. Uh, the first, uh, ensuring validity. If you use scores and or ratings to measure variations in something such as psychological traits, levels of ability, or physical properties, it's important that your result reflects the real variation as accurately as possible. Validity should be considered in the very earliest stage of your research when you decide how you will collect your data. For the first, ensuring validity is just appropriate method of measurement. Ensure that your method and measurement technique are high quality and target to measure exactly what you want to know. They should be truly researched and based on existing knowledge. For example, to collect data on a personality trait, you could use a standardized questionnaire that is considered reliable and valid. If you develop your own questionnaire, it should be based on established theory or findings of previous studies, and the questions should be carefully and preciously worded. For the second, use appropriate sampling methods to select your subjects. To, to produce valid generalizable results, clearly define the population you are researching. Uh, People from a specific age range, for example, geographical location or professions. Ensure that you have enough participants and that they are representative of the populations. Next slide. Okay, here there are two ensuring reliability. Reliability should be considered throughout the data collection process. When you use a tool or technique to collect data, it's important that the results are precise, stable, and reproducible. The first of ensuring reliability, apply your methods consistently. Plan your method carefully and play your method carefully to make sure you carry out the same steps in the same way for each measurement. This is especially important if multiple researchers are involved. For example, if you are conducting interviews or observations, clearly define how specific behaviors or responses will be counted and make sure questions are phrased the same way each time. The second is standardize the conditions of your research. When you collect your data, keep the circumstance as consistent as possible to reduce the influence of external factors that might create variation in the result. For example, in an experimental setup, make sure all participants are given the same information and test under the same conditions. Okay, that's for me. Next presentation will be explained by Putri Utami.
Okay, thank you for the time. Well, to write about reliability and validity in a thesis. It's appropriate to discuss reliability and validity in various sections of your thesis or dissertation, showing that you have taken them into account in planning your research and interpreting the result. It makes your work more credible and trustworthy. In the thesis, reliability and validity in thesis, that must have. The first is the literature review. In the literature review, that it's what have other researchers done to devise and improve methods that are reliable and valid. And the next, there is a methodology. In methodology, how did you plan your research to ensure reliability and validity of the measure used? These include the chosen sample set and size, sample preparation, external condition, and measuring technique used. Next is result. In the result, if you calculate reliability and validity, step these values alongside your main result. The next, there is a discussion. This is the moment to talk about how reliable and valid your results actually were. Were they consistent and did they reflect true values? If not, why not? And the last, there is a conclusion. If reliability and validity were a big problem for your finding, it might be helpful to mention these here. Okay, that's all maybe from my group. Let us know if you have any question. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.